I went to the cemetery the other day, not for any particular reason other than we are still allowed to go to cemeteries, at least for now. Ordinary funeral gatherings are not permitted at this moment here in Los Angeles, a city of 4 million people that spreads out over 469 square miles. I could not find the number of deaths due to COVID-19 within city limits, but Los Angeles County has lost 848 people to this pandemic. By the time you read this, more will be gone. I'm from Hunterdon County, a rural area in New Jersey that takes up nearly as much space as my adopted city but contains about 3,875,000 fewer people. The biggest thing to ever hit Hunterdon County was the 1935 Lindbergh baby murder trial, after which they electrocuted a German immigrant despite evidence that he didn't do it. Pretty much nothing happened before that or after that. Good public schools, though. 21 people in Hunterdon County have died from the coronavirus. I do not know if the cemeteries are still open back home, where the woods are blooming and the backyard gardens are in flower. A few weeks back, my hometown friend left a rabbit hutch open on her farm for 5 minutes. This week, her kids got to hold baby bunnies for the first time. There is an old private cemetery in Hunterdon County that I like to visit now and again as a teenager. It is full of graves from a family who has farmed in that part of New Jersey for more than 3 centuries. As a kid, I heard ghost stories about it, this place at the edge of a farm, by the side of a long road that is paved until it isn't. They said you could see a glowing red light at night, eerie, coming from nowhere, a spirit hovering above a grave. I heard that story for years and years. And then, one afternoon, I visited for the first time, with an ex-boyfriend I still loved who had broken up with me, ostensibly because I wasn't the right religion but probably because he wanted to date a girl who would actually have sex with him. As an adult, I have broken up with people for the same reason, so I understand. We were 18. I still loved him, a little, and thought maybe he would change his mind. Adolescence can be adorable, really. We gazed up at the scrubby, bare tree branches arching against a cold early spring sky. We read the old tombstones, the names of infants and the mothers who died with them, and the fathers and children who survived to meet new wives, and stepmothers who not infrequently went on to die in childbirth with their own newborns. They died so young back then, I said. So many babies just, died. And the mothers. And then they just had to get another wife to raise the kids. Can you imagine, the ex-boyfriend said. All that pain.
He had a lot of emotions. I couldn't imagine all that pain, and neither could he.
He and I wandered farther, to the newer, more boring gravestones. It felt a bit rude to trample over those graves, less a historical investigation than a breach of neighborly etiquette. Then I noticed one grave several yards off, adorned with a colorful bunch of objects we couldn't quite discern. I walked over, drawn by the little pile of bright mysteries, until I realized they were toys, wind-battered Sesame Street figurines, dirt-caked plastic Muppet babies, rain-stained My Little Ponies. This particular grave marker was for a little girl, and beside her stone was a battery-operated red lantern. The red ghost was a nightlight. I wondered who came at night to turn it on for her and who returned in the morning to turn it off. Maybe her parents took turns. We left. We did not get back together. Not so many years after that, the ex-boyfriend married someone who was the right religion. I have loved a few people since then and have married none of them. I have no idea where he is now. I do not love him anymore, but I hope he is happy, in the way that I hope most strangers are happy. We remember our dead differently, each one of us, even if we participate in more common cultural rituals. We have a boozy and boisterous wake, or a music-filled funeral full of elegant hats and fans, or a repast with 6 kinds of pasta. I have heard that people are permitted to drive past a burial ceremony in their cars and look out the window. But we have our own small rituals, too, the ones we do or don't mention to others, the ones we invent ourselves. We say good night to our dead. We say good morning. We say, I love you. We show them we haven't forgotten them, though they are gone. We show ourselves we are still here, though at times we wish we weren't. Again, I think of the numbers. Where I grew up, 21 people are dead from this virus. Where I live now, 848 people are dead from it. I have heard that people are permitted to drive past a burial ceremony in their cars and look out the window. I did not see any funerals last weekend when I went to the cemetery for a long walk with my friend. It was a very different cemetery than the humble farm burial ground back home. Glendale's own Forest Lawn Memorial Park was founded in 1906 and is today the 300-acre flagship location of a chain of 6 cemeteries. Dr. Hubert Eaton and a business partner took over in 1912, and Eaton became head of management in 1917, the year the United States declared war on Germany and belatedly entered World War I, continuing our tradition of enthusiastically lending a hand to other people only after they've been properly ravaged. We do love to tell ourselves we've saved the day again. We don't like sad endings. Hubert Eaton decorated Forest Lawn Memorial Park with all manner of patriotic artwork and emblems. He wanted the cemetery to be a happy and even celebratory place, reflecting his belief that there was a joyful life awaiting good people in heaven after death. His great-nephew is currently the chairman of the mini-empire Eaton founded. Eaton developed an obsession with tracking down a lost panoramic painting called the Crucifixion, which measured 195 feet long and 45 feet high. Commissioned in Europe in 1894, it was completed by Polish artist Jan Steicher after his palette was blessed by Pope Leo XIII. The painting was displayed first in Warsaw in 1897. It made its way to the United States, intended for the 1904 St. Louis exhibition. Steicher's American partners failed to pay proper custom taxes, and the painting was seized and lost for 4 decades. In 1944, the painting was found wrapped around a telephone pole in the basement of the Chicago Civic Opera. Eaton paid the painter's son to restore it. He built an enormous hall of the Crucifixion expressly to display the painting to the public. The Crucifixion is shown every hour on the hour, except for a lunch break, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. on weekdays, except for Mondays. As at many theme park attractions and Scientology events, an informative video with intense voice acting and dramatic music helps set the tone. There are also timed lighting changes. An ex-boyfriend took me there once as a surprise, because he knew I'd love it. I did love it. We left, speaking excitedly about the strangely charming madness we'd watched unfold, and we did not get back together. He checks in now and again. Forest Lawn is the Disneyland of cemeteries, so it's no wonder Walt Disney was a friend of Eaton's and, indeed, is buried there, along with his head, which was not frozen. The cemetery had sections with such names as Eventide, Babyland, Graceland, Inspiration Slope, Slumberland, Sweet Memories, Whispering Pines, Vesperland, Borderland, and Dawn of Tomorrow. For decades, no persons of Jewish, Chinese, or African descent were permitted to be buried at Forest Lawn. I don't know when that changed, but it did. Nat King Cole is there, as is his daughter Natalie Cole. Elizabeth Taylor is there. Sammy Davis Jr. is there. Humphrey Bogart is there. Michael Jackson is there. Mary Pickford is there. Lon Chaney is there. Clark Gable is there. More than 250,000 other people are there. Or pieces of them are, anyway.